My name's Ewan McGregor, and I play Catcher Block in the new film Down with Love.
20th Century Fox and Regency Enterprises present a new film that's out of this world.
Are we rolling? For Christ's sake. Oh.
Okay, here we go. Pictures up and roll sound. We're rolling. Marker.
Down with Love, take 3.
Action.
Do you work for me? You're asking the audience to completely buy into the fact that it's a 60s film.
It transports you into another world, into another time.
You're fired. Uh-huh. No, I'm not. Oh!
This was just gangbusters, and everyone just leapt into it.
Everything about it is just alive and vibrant. It's like that's what movies are for.
Get ready for romance, sex, and a swinging good time in the making of Down with Love. Taking its cues from the popular bedroom comedies of the early 60s, the film stars Renée Zellweger, Ewan McGregor, David Hyde Pierce, and Sarah Paulson in a hilariously hip romantic romp.
It takes its cues from these old early 60s Doris Day Rock Hudson movies, but it was a really, really stylized story.
I just popped by for a little sex a la carte.
Uh-oh.
One thing that people get out of Down with Love is that in addition to being hilariously funny,
Catcher Block on Barbara Novak, penetrating the myth.
We'll have to sell it in a brown wrapper.
it also just feels so completely fresh.
As much as it's an homage to the Rock Hudson Doris Day comedies, the overall impression when you see it, I think, is going to be, I've never seen a movie like this before.
We've tumbled headlong into the early 60s.
Crazy!
Mark it.
In the story of Down with Love, Renée Zellweger plays Barbara Novak, who writes a book called Down with Love.
Here's to Bannerhouse's new #1 author.
Her new book is Down with Love, a how-to manual for women who find themselves distracted by love. And it's all in my book. Down with Love, not sex.
Ewan McGregor plays Catcher Block, who is No Magazine's Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist.
He's so suave and slick, you know. James Bond without the espionage.
Easy, baby. Careful you don't fall out.
He's a playboy, ladies' man, man's man, man about town, and he disagrees with everything that Barbara Novak stands for.
Mr. McManus, Catcher Block has just landed on the roof.
When he gets in, tell him to see me. He's fired.
Peter McManus, who's played by David Hyde Pierce, is the owner of No Magazine.
Ewan's character is my star journalist,
You're fired.
No, I'm not.
Oh, yes, you are.
who's kind of a handful.
Star journalist Catcher Block was seen leaving the Copa last night with 3 girls from the floor show.
Vicky Hiller, who's played by Sarah Paulson, is an editor at Bannerhouse Publishing.
Vicky, because she's such a genius, comes up with this great idea. I got you a cover story written by No Magazine star journalist Catcher Block.
The ladies' man, man's man, man about town?
Well, I'm not interested in interviewing Barbara Novak because she's a spinster librarian, as far as I'm concerned, who's written a book because she can't get laid. Who else would write a book called Down with Love?
Well, the book becomes this huge hit. Down with Love, just everyone on the planet reads it.
Down with Love changed my life.
And all these women start treating men like men have been treating women.
That big book is ruining my life. All our wives are giving us trouble.
The guys are screwed, but not, you know, the way they wish they were.
I'm not talking about my wife. I'm talking about my mistress.
It's sexually motivated.
That's basically my motivation. Sex, sex, sex.
It's just not right. You have to get to Novak. You have to solve this catch. You have to squash her.
So I decide the only way to get out of it is to write an expose that shows her up as a fraud. I am going to bury that Novak broad and turn this crazy upside down with love world right side up again. All women want love and marriage, and I am going to make Novak fall in love.
Wow, how?
You've never heard of my book, Down with Love?
No, ma'am, I have not.
There's real chemistry and sexual tension, and there's a real romance between those two characters. In Down with Love, you're going to be transported back to a very colorful time, the 60s, with all the fashions and all the design and all the bachelor pads. We shot on 4 stages, and Andrew Laws, the production designer, built 55 sets, large and small.
I pretty much say this is the dream job because it's my favorite period in architecture, but pushed to a level of a little bit more theatrical.
We see these sound stages where these magnificent sets, you know, beautifully designed, sort of born out of the 60s, but still very unique designs, things you've never seen before.
The apartments of each character really tell you a lot about that character. I mean, you see Barbara Novak's apartment, and it's this, you know, very white and pink, gigantic, airy apartment.
It's like eye candy. It's wonderful to look at. The furniture and the shag carpets and these vibrant colors.
Catcher Block's apartment has a darker feel. It's very masculine. It has all these hidden, tricked-out bachelor pad gadgets, and, you know, it feels like a trap.
Catcher's apartment is a sex machine. It's a big sex trap.
10 minutes in my apartment and you'll both forget all about dinner.
I go there on my date with Vicky thinking I'm going to be all suave and cool, but only when I get there do I realize that I haven't got a clue. I don't even know where the bar is.
I don't understand this, Peter. How does a person lose their built-in bar?
I swear, it was here a minute ago. There are hidden switches everywhere.
Lights that dim at the flick of a switch.
Ooh!
And a bar that comes out of the wall.
Probably switches that I haven't even figured out what they do, but they're scary.
It is kind of James Bond fantasy apartment.
Hey, found it.
One of the fun things about making Down with Love was you could make a big deal about what somebody was wearing.
I remember the very first thing we did in wardrobe and everything was screen tests. That was really a kick. We weren't even shooting the movie yet.
When they saw each other in the costumes, they were just out of their minds. Everyone was starting to get a sense of how much fun making this movie was really going to be.
It was a blast, and we all looked fantastic because Daniel's just done such an amazing job with the costumes.
My goodness, you're gorgeous.
We feel so lucky to have Daniel Orlandi designing our costume for this movie.
This has been a dream job for me. I mean, when I read the script last year, I said, I have to do this movie.
First thing he said is, I've waited my whole life to do this movie since I was a small boy. This is the movie I've been waiting to do.
The wardrobe couldn't be a larger part of the movie if we tried. And every person, when I got this movie, everyone was like, oh, the clothes. You're gonna wear great clothes.
Today, we're filming the Mahogany Room. The girls come in together and we do our little fashion show.
We have this entire scene where we're strutting with our outfits.
The girls' costumes are from another planet. They have these elegant silk things that they just slough off like a second skin.
All you see are like little heads popping out, and mine is purple and hers is pink.
You wrap them in these gorgeous gowns and they look stunning.
You dig, Daddy-O?
Oh, I do dig. Well, we wear an awful lot of hair. Well, I do, anyway, a lot of hairspray. I've been in a Force 8 gale with this quiff, and it hasn't moved an inch. Sorry.
The movie sort of bumps up against being a musical a few times. It has that sort of buoyancy to it where you almost feel like they could break out in song. It's incredibly romantic.
There's a music to the language of these movies, and I think everyone has been able to capture that. I know Marc Shaiman's doing the music, and he's a genius.
The music's a really important component to the movie, and Marc Shaiman was one of the first people that we hired on the movie because he was the perfect guy.
At 44,
and Marc, when we first talked about the score, said he absolutely wanted to record it in Hollywood.
It was so right up my alley, and I didn't know anyone else who could do it or would. I've been waiting for this movie to come along my whole life to score it, because this is the kind of music I've always wanted to in writing for movies.
And that's fantastic, because they really have captured it.
He's the only guy I could think of who could do it.
We think Peyton Reed is a bit stylized and a bit twisted. In addition to being a hilariously funny screenplay, we needed a director that could embrace that sense of style, and fortunately for all of us, frankly, Peyton read it and loved it.
Peyton just got it. He was into rear screen projection. He was into stock shots. He was into just the fun of doing it.
Hello?
Hello, Barbara. It's Zip.
Hello, Zip.
We use split screens. There's several montages. There's stock footage that's used. So The whole visual design of the movie is meant to evoke that period and really feel as if you're watching a movie that was made during the early 60s.
He has such a love and an enthusiasm for the Down with Love universe.
Peyton was having such a great time. There wasn't a moment where we weren't laughing, I think. He plays guitar and drums and sings.
He's a comedian and a ventriloquist and an actor and a director. Is the thing doing this move?
That's the thing.
And ending up in the thing and the thing?
Yeah, the two things with the thing.
Okay.
Nothing cuts to this thing.
Well, that's clear to me, huh?
Can we have the thing? Ewan McGregor looks like Sean Connery in the Bond movies. And of course, Renée Zellweger is one of the most beautiful women on the planet. And the chemistry between the two of them is just magnificent.
Would you like to go to my place and get to know each other a little better?
A little better?
A lot better.
And there are times even between Renee and Ewan that you're not sure if they're acting. They seem like they may have dropped character and they're just laughing and having a good time.
Hang on. Who am I?
Obi-Wan.
Thanks. There's a great feeling on the set. There's a great bunch of people making this movie. I'm living my childhood fantasies of being an actor as we speak. We wear fantastic clothes and look as glamorous as you like and go and act in these incredible sets.
It's really bright and fun and poppy.
It takes you to another world in a way that's just so funny and very original.
Down with love, girls! It's revenge against men!
It was aggressively comedic, but the romantic quality of the movie really, really sneaks up on you.
You have an eyelash. Make a wish.
You want to be transported, and this movie is beyond transporting. It'll shoot you right to the moon.
You've got it bad, and that is not good.
You don't actually know what to expect with it. I don't want love. It's against everything I stand for.
I've got her exactly where I want her.
Or maybe you just like spending time with her.
It's fantastically eccentric and brilliant. A romantic comedy, but with the big twist at the end. Barbara, wait!
You blew it, buddy.
It's vibrant and so captivating. It's just really fun to watch.
It's crazy, Daddy-O.
This is terrible. We're behaving just like two people in love.
We took Manhattan without the bidders. We're staying put, last calls for quitters. Soon it will be just babysitters. 'Cause this hawk's now a dove. Baby, the cab is blowing this hard.
But I can't find my hat and my glove.
Okay, cheers, cheers. Baby, here's to love.
The New York City we see throughout the movie is the Universal backlot enhanced with some matte paintings. It's basically New York City in the 60s as seen through a Hollywood movie of that period.
I'm a digital matte artist, otherwise known as a digital matte painter. Basically, we're going to add digital environments to the show. We're going to extend the street so that it looks like a long straight road because New York is set on a very strict grid. And we're going to add probably a few, tall buildings in there so it looks like we're not on the back lot here at Universal. We're downtown New York in 1963.
This is Grand Central Station behind us. We're doing some shots here with all these period cars and cabs, and you can see the extras are dressed up.
And once we get the shot here on the backlot, Matte World will take the elements and create a digital matte. The camera will tilt down the front of an entirely CG Pan Am building and onto an entirely CG Grand Central Station, and then finally land on the plate we shot on the backlot with period cars and people. And we do various angles like that here where green screen is replaced by digital mats for the opening sequence where Barbara catches a cab. In Down with Love, the characters are riding in taxi cabs, and behind them you see these backgrounds that are fake. We got actual period footage from the 60s. And it was important to find a line of how fake we could push it and how real we wanted to make it.
Men. They want us to fail.
Originally, I wanted to shoot this scene using rear screen projection the way they would have done it in the late 50s or early 60s. And we actually met with a company who does rear screen, and I think had actually done Pillow Talk in 1959. But ultimately, we decided that wasn't going to give us the control we wanted, so we shot green screen and tried to make it look like rear screen. The footage you see behind the girls here is from a Doris Day movie, That Touch of Mink. And on Sarah's side here, which is also David Hyde Pierce's side, this is from My Man Godfrey. So we found all this footage, and Asylum composited it. They had to steady some of the shots and adjust some of the angles. And then they created this really nice effect where it appears you're looking through glass, and I think ultimately the effect is really nice. It's a nice level of reality versus fakeness. That was always the issue with this movie in creating New York, especially in this end sequence here. Matt World created a skyline of Manhattan. It's entirely CG, but it's got a nice photorealistic quality to it. So that was always the trick, finding the tone. In Down with Love, we had to create this world that had 1 foot in reality and 1 foot in this sort of hyper-reality. It's not the New York City of today, and it's not even the New York City of the real early 60s. It's basically New York City in the 60s as seen through a Hollywood movie of that period.
And this to me is like, it's almost like a child's memory of like the mid-century. It's all a little bit blown up, a little bit more of a dream. And we can play with the architecture, and we're not bound by conventions of how somebody moves through a space or where a kitchen would be or logic in general. We are shooting film on 4 stages. We've got 55 sets, and we're designing from the ground up almost everything.
Some of these sets were big 4-wall sets, some were 3-wall sets, some were 2, and I think we actually had a 1-wall set.
The key was to have the feel that it was made during the period. It was, as well as being set in 1963, it's meant to look as though it was shot in 1963.
The way we made the movie reflected in some ways the way they would have made the movie back then. The apartments and the office buildings that the characters inhabit are really large, the way that sets were built in the 50s. And when you look out the window, you don't see the real world, and you don't see a photographic translite. You see a painted canvas backing.
As a designer, it's allowed me to take my favorite pieces of mid-century modern architecture and my favorite architects like Mies van der Rohe, Alvar Aalto, Saarinen, and to create a maybe slightly more whimsical world where we have pieces and samplings of the luminaries of the period. As a kind of a base starting point, we took a lot of cues from the Danish modern, a little bit of the international style, the clean lines, the exposing materials, the lack of ornament, and what we've been able to do is expand and grow a lot of those pieces.
This is the liquor chest in here that has lights, that'll light up from the sides, so it gives you kind of a crazy weird light thing there. And then this is all lit up from behind, so it's all frosted in blue glass.
Peter, you rang?
Each of the apartments basically had a different kind of theme to it. Barbara Novak's apartment was very much this white, glowing apartment in the sky, very innocent and beautiful.
It's this massive, airy apartment with this unrealistic view of Manhattan where you see the Statue of Liberty and the Empire State Building and the Chrysler Building, creating this whole fake reality.
Peter's apartment was meant to be a little bit more normal and regular, very right angles, and there's a kitchen, it's very domestic and more predictable. And Catch's apartment wanted to be more of a maze and more of a mystery.
When we talked about Catcher Block's apartment, we wanted to give it the appearance of sort of a lair, so it's dark, there's a lot of wood, you step down to go into it, and you really want the feeling that any woman who sets foot in that apartment is not going to come out intact. Every morning there was this great feeling of, okay, where are we now? What cool set are we on? And it was a really, really great feeling. When I first read the script, it's extremely specific about the style of clothes that these characters are wearing. There were very specific references even to the designer of the clothes. So when we were meeting with costume designers, Daniel Orlandi came in. And Daniel Orlandi put down all these sketches he had made and all these reference photos and came in and basically said, I was born to do this movie.
Everything head to toe is designed in this movie for all of our principals. From the men's shirts and ties, to the women's dresses, hats, gloves, shoes, because everything has to go together.
All of my stuff that I'm wearing was made for me. The shirts, everything. I'm wearing my own underwear. But other than that, and which is cool because even though it's a 60s movie, if you use real vintage 60s stuff, that's appropriate for some things. But for this kind of film that's so crisp and clean, you really need new clothes, because they were new then and they should be new now.
We've used lots of vintage fabric that we found all over the country and have made the clothes like they would have been made in 1963. We've just contracted sources: shoemakers, glove makers, hat makers, dressmakers, tailors.
I remember having my very first fitting, and he had just an entire wall full of black and white photos from the 60s with different outfits and looks, and he already had mini boards of, you know, all my outfits with colored in, with fabric swatches attached.
It's really, you know, an homage to movies of that period when an actress came in and they were fit in all of their clothes. They were designed for them. They showed them the sketches. I did these little sketches of each scene, and then we do our little chart so we never repeat a costume or a color. We're getting ready to film our opening shot with Renée coming out of Grand Central Station. We have all of our business people, all very muted tones, and she's come down from Maine in her bright pink and white suit. And we pick her right out of the crowd. We've done it all almost like a musical, where all of the extras are designed to be background, and they all sort of go together. So every scene, one scene they're all beiges, one scene they're all grays, one scene they're all bronzes, and it's all designed so our four principals just pop out of every scene. It's all about Camelot, you know, Jackie Kennedy in the White House. Women wore gloves when they went to lunch and wore a hat when they went outside. I've been waiting since I was 6 years old to do this movie.
When I read the script, it talked about music in the movie. The music would do this, music and that. I met with him, I said, it almost seems like it should say, like, Marc Shaiman will score this movie, because it was so right up my alley, and I've been waiting for this movie to come along my whole life to score it, because this is the kind of music I've always wanted to in writing for movies.
Marc Shaiman's score is a character in the movie because it's very crucial in the comedic aspect of the movie and the romantic aspect of the movie.
Being able to follow the action on screen the way that music used to be able to, and really kind of be part of the storytelling, and you know, really kind of being a little more out front than is the style of a modern movie.
When you see and hear Marc's score in the movie, you know, he scores every little, you know, eyelash flickering, or every little hand movement. It's incredibly specific, and he's the only guy I could think of who could do it.
Barbara has her own theme. She also has a kind of Down with Love theme. The David Hyde Pierce character always has a harpsichord kind of following him around.
Catcher!
Marc Shaiman and Scott Whitman composed a song called Here's to Love for our movie.
Renée was in Chicago, and Ewan was in Moulin Rouge, and he said, why can't we write a song for these?
You know, we had these two, like the king and queen of the new movie musical. So we said, it's a great opportunity. Can we write a song that they could maybe sing, at least, in the end title?
It sounds like the best end of a show number that I've heard ever, you know. It's great. Of course, we're singing on it, which helps a great deal.
We had so much fun recording it, and we were all dancing around and just fantasized. Couldn't we film this somehow? Someday, maybe the end title, and then lo and behold, it all magically happened.
We're shooting a musical number for it, which is meant to look like a variety show from the early 60s.
And Scott and I talked ourselves into parts in the actual shootings.
We're stage starved.
I'm, of course, the piano player. After Hairspray was a big success,
I still bartend on Saturday night.
He goes there on Saturday night and bartends. So
this is method acting.
Hey, bartender, fill her up.
So it all worked out perfectly.
Here's to love.
Scene 23.
And action.
Welcome to Banner House Publishing.
There was the role of Theodore Banner in the script, and throughout the casting process, we started thinking, wow, what if we could get Tony Randall to play Theodore Banner because Tony Randall was in all those movies, and we thought it would just be a fantastic casting coup if we could get Tony Randall.
I think that they said, hey, he's still alive and he's not working. I bet we can get him cheap.
So we sent him the script and we met with him in New York.
And he asked me if I would please play this part. And I said it was too short. And he said, we'll beef it up for you. And they did.
It was a thrill for everybody to have the man himself really there, being Tony Randall.
I'm just a huge fan of his, and watching his old movies and watching The Odd Couple, he's got this style of comedy that's so precise.
You're my creative team. Create a reason to get rid of her. Or I'll create a new creative team.
He would talk about Doris and Rock and the set and the this, and it would be, you know, it was very, very, very exciting that he got here and felt an affection for Renee and our guys. It was very special. It was a big deal for us.
It brought the movie full circle having Tony be a part of it. It's nice to see him because he's such a pro.
And action.
Kate Book is ruining my life.
Woman acts as if she has a mind of her own. All our wives are giving us trouble. I'm not talking about my wife. I'm talking about my mistress.
And cut it. Very good.
Tony Randall coming to the set was crazy for me. He's so funny. It was one of those things where you watch a person and you're like, I hope my mouth's not hanging open because I feel like it is, and I hope it's not.
He came in and did one day on the movie, and it was a dream come true for me because he's an icon.
This is Barbara Novak.
This is Catcher Block.
One of the things that makes this movie seem like a movie made in the 60s, we use split screens when they have phone calls between Catcher Block and Barbara Novak, which were used all through those movies.
Hello.
Hello, Barbara. It's Jeff.
During the rehearsal period, Jeff Cronenweth and I shot DV footage of Renee and Ewan in the various risque positions, and we cut it together, and it worked really well as a template for the real shoot day.
Coming through.
Today is the split screen sequence between Catcher Block and Barbara Novak. It's our movie's equivalent of a car chase. It's motion control cameras. We're doing Renee's half of it today. We'll do Ewan's half in a couple of weeks. Pictures up! Today we're in Peter McManus's apartment, and we're doing Ewan McGregor's half of the split screen sequence. Catcher Block will be right over there doing his exercises and talking on the phone, and it just so happens that they sort of match up with what Barbara Novak's doing on her side to create some highly suggestive poses. These are the two original plates for the sequence, Renee's side and Ewan's side. And we really went to great pains to schedule this out for the actors to have an equal amount of stress. And what I mean by that is the person who went first on a particular shot had it a little easier because they could sort of set the pace and the rhythm of that shot. And the actor that went second had to match that shot. So I really wanted Renee and Ewan to have an equal amount of shots that they could start. Unfortunately, when we started making the movie, the schedule changed, and it turned out we adopted a ladies first attitude where Renee, just because of the schedule changes, got to shoot hers first. And how we would do it is Renee would be on camera and Ewan would be off camera speaking through the telephone. So they both could act together and establish the pace of the scene. But then because we had to shoot Ewan's half second, he had the burden of recreating his performance and recreating the scene and still keeping it spontaneous. In addition, in this sequence, he also had the burden of doing about 200 sit-ups and 400 push-ups because we were using a motion control camera and his position had to be very, very exact. So by the end of that day, Ewan had put on about 15 pounds of pure muscle. He had to do so many push-ups and sit-ups. But ultimately, these shots here, these are the ones that were in the final sequence, and I think it came out well, and the actors put a lot of effort into making it look effortless. I think when you see the sequence, it seems like no big deal, but a lot of work went into it on behalf of the actors.
I remember the very first thing we did was screen tests. That was really a kick. We weren't even shooting the movie yet.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's official. The battle of the sexes is over. What's that? Don't believe me? Well, here's the proof. Please give a warm welcome to the co-authors of the new book, Here's to Love, Mrs. Barbara Novak Block and Mr. Ketcher Block.
Barbara, I'd like to propose a toast to the topic I dig the most.
Can't you let me dust off my loving cup?
Hey, bartender, fill her up.
Look how the neon starts to flicker.
Love's like a shot, but works much quicker.
And you're a man who can't hold his liquor.
Cheers, here's to love.
I'm an old-fashioned and you're the cherry.
I've got a thirst that's legendary.
And that's why I fired your secretary.
Cheers, here's to love. Life's a martini.
And you're the shaker.
And baby, I sure packed a punch.
Hey, you make Dean Martin look like a Quaker.
But now it's only you for dinner,
breakfast,
and lunch. I hear the march that's calling for us.
We'll walk down the aisle to an angel's chorus.
I'll be your rock if you'll be my Doris. Sweet heavens above.
Why is the waiter smiling at us?
He knows what we're thinking of. Oh, can the cheers, cheers, baby, here's to love.
You've got the lips to wet my whistle.
If that doesn't get you, maybe this'll.
Cupid just launched a guided missile.
Cheers, here's to love.
Your eyes are so intoxicating.
Bottoms up, babe, let's get to mating.
I bet it bears reiterating.
Cheers, here's to love. Though it ain't New Year's, pop the champagne and let's take a spin on the floor. Hey, your moves are good.
I'm feeling no pain.
So let's pay the check and slip out the back door. We took Manhattan without the bidders. We're staying put, last calls for quitters. Soon it will be just babysitters. 'Cause this heart's now adore. Baby, the cab is blowing its horn.
But I can't find my hat and my glove.
Oh, Karen, cheers, cheers. Baby, here's to love.
Here's mud in your eye.
Here's looking at you, kid.
Here, this will put hairs on your chest. Not that I would want that.
Here's to love.
I'm sorry, panel, you've been stumped. The author of the international bestseller, Down with Love, Barbara Novak. Barbara, I know every woman bought your book, and I know every man sneaked out and bought it to find out what their women were reading.
Oh, well, that's when the sales doubled.
But then they tripled. How did that happen?
Well, that's actually a very funny story. It seems that church groups in the Bible Belt were so zealous about being seen burning my book that every time they had a bonfire, they would call the next day and reorder so that they could have another one.
Now, I've heard a lot of talk about Chapter 8, about the worst kind of man, the kind every woman should avoid. What's that title again?
Oh, yes. Men who change women as often as they change their shirts.
And have you met a lot of that kind of man in your research?
You're not asking me to name names, are you?
No, of course not.
Catch or block?
Down with Love changed my life. It can change yours, too.
It certainly changed this girl's life when a fellow operator told her about her favorite new book. That's right, Down with Love. Who's there? Is that opportunity calling? Looks like it, because now she's part of the perky workforce at Barbara Novak's new Now magazine. Filing, typing, anything the boss needs done. Watch out, fellas. Another Down with Love girl is climbing the corporate ladder.
Hello, Mom.
Let's
A movie in Hollywood. Hello.
Why, yes, Barbara.
One more?
We'll just stay 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Just about got nose in the door that time.
Minky mink, let them eat your face off.
I have so much saliva. I'm excited. A girl's never called me in a... A girl's never called me... A girl's never called me in my life, let alone... A girl's never called me in my life, let alone...
Get it all off. Excuse us 1 second. Barbara, I know that I have no idea what my line is.
Then I see this item. No!
You see... You see Lola shakes her maracas while Rosa bounces her. Lola shakes her maracas and Rosa bounces her bongos while Nina is all hands. 120 words a minute. Oh my God. Oh, I'm gonna start again, sorry.
In the shot. Do they have flies at Doubleday?
The ones that buzz around your forehead the whole time you're doing the scene?
Yes, they do, girls.
10 minutes. 10 minutes. Steam sealing mother.
Bugs everywhere.
CBS, 1 moment, please. CBS, 1 moment, please. CBS, 1.
You're putting me under an uniform?
And Helen girly.
Don't start that, whatever you do.
That's why Novak won't even see me coming.
Okay. Enough with the football talk. God!
Nope.
From the
top.
Oh, here they come.
Nope. I've got her surrounded, and it won't take a... Oh, for fuck's sake. Ready?
Yes.
Hope I am.
Get ready, here it comes. I'm gonna feed you. Well, that's just great. Can't you get off your war... Well, that's just great. Can't you get off your Novak warpath?
Nope. I've got her surrounded, and it won't take a... I can't remember what it won't take. Thank you.
Oh, well, that's just great. Can't you get off your Novak warpath?
Nope. I've got her surrounded, and it won't take a surprise attack to enter her teepee. If you want... No. Cut the cameras, for Christ's sake.
You had a call time early this morning, and now it's 10:20 at night.
I had dinner reservations for 7:30. How about a kiss?
Please.
I can't find them. Gee, I dropped it.
No, I meant here in New York. Most bachelors.
Oh, damn. Are you? Yeah. You okay? It sticks sometimes.
Goodbye.
Still rolling, let's grab one more. Still rolling.
Hang on. Who am I?
Obi-Wan.
Thanks.
God!
No, that's not why I want you to stop.
Why do you want me to stop?
I know!
Because no wife of mine belongs in an apartment like this.
Ring up my crew captain at the hotel. Cheerio. I can't find it.
Never seen it before in my life. No. Oh.
You are a pile of poo because I can't remember my line. This may be the last time I get to make out with DHP, so I'm hoping he slips me a little tongue.
This may be the last time I get to make out with Aziz. I'm hoping she's going to slip me a little tongue. La, 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 la.
I think Vicky only started talking sex to me that...
Sex-starved monk!
My bar broke.
I am never going to get this line right.
Can I take that again?
Well, I want to do one more.
Go in. Although that was funny.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I think we should go sooner rather than later.
Don't stop. I'm doing it.
Is that the writers?
Well, milk this moment as long as I possibly can. Hey!
If you had seen it, it was brilliant. It'll go in editing, but it was brilliant.
Yeah, print that one.
Barbara, I'd like to propose a toast.
Down with Love, music from and inspired by the motion picture, featuring Here's to Love, performed by Renée Zellweger and Ewan McGregor. The Here's to Love music video is only available on this enhanced CD. Also includes music by Michael Bublé, Astero, Frank Sinatra, Xavier Cugat and his orchestra, and score suites by composer Marc Shaiman. Down with Love, in stores now.